I believe my ancestors chose me to tell their stories and unravel their truths, and to learn from their hardships. I believe my ancestors chose me to inspire others and encourage others with their stories. In honor of Black History Month, I would like to share a story about my ancestor, William Witherspoon. And this paper here is a copy of his free papers. And if you were a slave in the United States of America before 1865 and you were free, you had to show proof that you were free. And usually you had to carry around a piece of paper that looked something like this. But this is actually like digitalized, like they actually, you know, transcribe the actual piece of paper. So this piece of paper is from 1820, and it talks about how he was free from one of his slave owners, which was Joel L. Green. And Joel L. Green freed him for his faithful services. And my ancestor decided to take the last name Witherspoon from his prior slave owner. This is a copy of Reverend Hugh Porter's probate record. And in this probate record, it talks about his wife who had died before he had died. But this is a copy of his probate record that was dated August the 25th, 1813. And South Carolina. But it goes on to say that at the top here, if you can look where I highlighted it at, that he sold, well, his estate sold William or Will for $600, which is an equivalent at this time that this document was recorded was in 2004. So at that time, it was $8,407.40. So during that time that William was estimated for $600, that's how much, he was worth $8,000 when they sold him like cattle. Okay. But down the bottom, it goes to talk about, down the bottom here, it goes to talk about Reverend Hugh Porter, wife. Her name was Mary Elizabeth Witherspoon Porter, and she was born in 1790, and she was the daughter of James Witherspoon and Elizabeth Raphael. Now, this is where my ancestor got the last name Witherspoon from, but it gets more interesting. What I mean by interesting is that my ancestor, William Witherspoon, he was born just estimated from this census record. And this census record is from 1830 of the Sumter district. And before it was Sumter, South Carolina, it was Swimming's Pen, like in the early 1700s and 1790. And then it changed. It went from Sumter district and then went from Sumter County. But here, this is a copy of the 1830 census record, and highlighted at the very top is my ancestor, William Witherspoon. And up at the top of the page, it says here free white people, but on the second page he's listed with himself and other children. But also on this page below him is another free man. So he was free from 1820 to 1830. But after 1830, I'm quite sure from the age described here on the second page, he was between the age of 55 and 100. Okay, this is the second page of the other page. But here I have an arrow showing that in William Witherspoon household, it was 7 people. And it was him, and he was between the ages of 55 and 100. And it was 3 other males with him, and they were under the age of 24. And then it was another male between the age of 24 and 26. And then it was two little girls. One was under the age of 5, and the other one was under the age of 10. So here we have my ancestor that was freed in 1820, and he's a single father, and he's free, and he's taking care of his children. So I'm always proud of him, and proud that he held on, and he was a faithful servant where he was allowed to be free as well as his children. So there's a Black History moment for my bloodline in honor of my ancestor, William Witherspoon. I forgot to note that my ancestor, William William Witherspoon, but he was born between 1765 and 1768. That's around the age he was born. So that was really quite like in the height of when they were snatching people from Africa and bringing them over here. But he held on, and he was an older gentleman in 1830 taking care of those children by himself. And that had to be a really difficult thing for him to do, but it allowed his children to be free. It allowed his children to have access to other things that, other children, Black children around them didn't have. So I wanted to note that, and also note, if you can tell here that, on the second page, people are not, well, the people in the household are marked with just numbers. They're not names, they're numbers. Even for the free white people, only the head of the household during that time from 1790, when the first census record started, up until 1840, the head of the household was just listed, and everyone was listed with slashes, and then they had rows for how many slaves that particular person had. So just to take a note of the evolution of census records and how important they are for America, and how important they are especially for African Americans who have descendants that were slaves, that will be able to tell where they were at and what they were doing, and so happy Black History Month. Well, not a happy one, but let's go Black History Month. Each one, teach one. Also, I want to clarify, on the first page of this census record lists the head of the household, but at the top it lists the free white people. But on the second page, it lists free Black people. So I just wanted to clarify that my ancestor, that he was Black, but he was listed on the front of the census, but the number is listed underneath the free people on the second page. So I just wanted to clarify that.